Season 2, Episode 7. Every problem hides a fortune, find pain, create value, build wealth. Aum Namapegavaith Vasudevya. Imagine two people walking through the same crowded city. Both see traffic, long queues, complaining customers, broken roads, busy hospitals, slow government offices, frustrated employees, confused business owners. At the end of the day, one returns home complaining that the world is full of problems. The other returns home excited, because everywhere he looked, he saw business opportunities. What changed? The city was the same. The people were the same. The problems were the same. Only their mindset was different. One saw inconvenience. The other saw value waiting to be created. If you stay with me until the very end, you'll discover why billion-dollar companies begin with simple frustrations. Why the world's greatest entrepreneurs become obsessed with pain points instead of products. And why every complaint you hear today could become tomorrow's most valuable opportunity. Imagine a doctor entering a hospital. She does not search for healthy people. She searches for patients in pain. Because where pain exists, healing creates value. Now imagine an engineer. He searches for machines that are failing. An architect searches for unsafe buildings. A teacher searches for gaps in understanding. A software developer searches for inefficiency. Every great profession begins with the same question. What problem can I solve? Money is rarely paid for effort alone. Money flows toward solutions. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that every individual has a duty to contribute to the well-being of society. Our work becomes meaningful when it reduces suffering, creates order, improves lives, or solves problems that others cannot solve easily. When we serve people well, prosperity often follows naturally. Henry Ford once observed, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." He did not simply build a car. He solved the deeper problem of transportation. The greatest innovators rarely sell products. They solve frustrations. Let me tell you a story. A young entrepreneur wanted to start a business. He spent months asking, "What business should I start?" Ideas came and went. Nothing felt right. One day, his mentor handed him a notebook. For 30 days, he was asked to write down every complaint he heard. People complained about waiting, parking, food delivery, school admissions, medical appointments, job searching, home maintenance, digital payments, customer service. By the end of the month, the notebook was full. The mentor smiled. "You've just collected 30 business opportunities." That notebook changed his life. Instead of chasing fashionable business ideas, he began solving one small problem exceptionally well. That small solution became a successful company because he stopped searching for businesses and started searching for pain. If today's message reminds you that opportunities are often hidden inside everyday frustrations, pause for a moment and write one word in the comments. Solution. Because the person who solves the greatest problems often creates the greatest value. Nature teaches us exactly the same lesson. Look at flowing water. It always moves toward the lowest point, not because it is weak, but because it naturally fills empty spaces. Business works similarly. Markets reward those who fill unmet needs. Where there is a gap, there is opportunity. Modern economics revolves around one simple principle. Supply follows demand. Demand is created by unmet needs. Every successful enterprise exists because somebody experienced inconvenience, frustration, delay, fear, or uncertainty. Amazon solved inconvenience. Google solved information overload. Airbnb solved unused space. Uber solved transportation uncertainty. They did not invent problems. They solved existing ones better than everyone else. Inside today's boardrooms, the most valuable meetings rarely begin by asking, "What product should we build?" Instead, leaders ask, "What customer problem remains unsolved? What frustrates our customers every single day? What consumes their time? What increases their cost? What creates anxiety?" Those questions create billion-dollar innovations. Peter Drucker reminded leaders that the purpose of business is to create and keep a customer. Customers remain loyal, not because companies have impressive logos, but because they consistently remove pain from people's lives. Chanakya advised rulers to understand the needs and difficulties of their people before making decisions. A leader who understands people's problems will never run out of opportunities to serve them. But here's where everything changes. Imagine a locksmith. He never complains that doors are locked. Locked doors are the very reason his profession exists. Imagine a firefighter. He does not celebrate fire, but when fire appears, his courage creates value. Imagine a bridge engineer. Cracks in a bridge do not discourage her. They reveal where her expertise is needed most. The greatest professionals never chase problems. They prepare themselves to solve them. And because they solve them better than others, society willingly rewards them. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that our duty is to perform meaningful action for the welfare of others. When our knowledge removes someone's suffering, reduces uncertainty, creates convenience, or improves quality of life, our work becomes both purposeful and valuable. That is why the greatest wealth is often created by the greatest service. If today's message reminds you that every challenge can become an opportunity to create value, take a moment to like this video and tell us in the comments. What is one everyday problem you notice that nobody seems to be solving well? Your observation may become someone else's next great business idea. There is another lesson hidden inside every successful enterprise. Imagine two entrepreneurs entering the same marketplace. The first proudly says, "I have an amazing product." The second quietly asks, "What keeps my customers awake at night?" Months later, the second entrepreneur is growing rapidly. Why? Because customers rarely wake up thinking about products. They wake up thinking about their own problems. Reduce their costs. Save their time. Increase their income. Protect their families. Simplify their work. Reduce their stress. And they will gladly remember your name. That is why the best businesses become problem-solving organizations, not product-selling organizations. Harvard professor Theodore Levitt once said, "People don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill. They want a quarter-inch hole." The lesson is profound. Customers don't buy software. They buy efficiency. They don't buy insurance. They buy peace of mind. They don't buy education. They buy a better future. They don't buy a restaurant meal. They buy convenience, experience, and satisfaction. Never become attached to your product. Become obsessed with the customer's outcome. Imagine a skilled surgeon. Patients don't admire the operation itself. They celebrate the relief from pain. Likewise, your business is not measured by what you produce. It is measured by what improves in another person's life because of what you produce. This single shift separates ordinary professionals from extraordinary leaders. Inside today's boardrooms, the most respected CEOs spend remarkable amounts of time listening. They visit customers, meet frontline employees, study complaints, analyze returns, read negative reviews. Why? Because complaints are free market research. Every complaint is a customer saying, "Here is an opportunity for someone to serve me better." The organizations that listen lead. The organizations that ignore disappear. Toyota became a global benchmark, not simply because it manufactured cars. It created systems that continuously identified problems and improved them. The philosophy of continuous improvement transformed small daily corrections into extraordinary long-term success. The same principle applies to our personal lives. Don't complain about problems. Become curious about them. Every recurring problem asks a silent question. Who will solve me? The person who answers that question often builds the next successful career, the next respected profession, or the next great enterprise. Chanakya advised rulers that prosperity comes from understanding the needs of the people before seeking personal gain. When leaders solve society's problems, society willingly supports those leaders. The sequence never changes. Service first. Reward follows. There is another kind of pain point we often overlook. The pain of employees. The frustration of managers. The anxiety of parents. The uncertainty of students. The loneliness of senior citizens. The struggles of small business owners. Not every opportunity requires advanced technology. Sometimes, listening deeply is the greatest innovation. Imagine a gardener walking through a garden. He doesn't water every plant equally. He notices which plant is drying first. He directs his effort where the need is greatest. Wise entrepreneurs think exactly the same way. Resources should flow toward the greatest customer pain. Because the greatest pain often creates the greatest value. Before you begin your next business, your next product, or your next career move, pause for a moment and ask yourself one simple question. Whose problem am I solving, and how can I solve it better, faster, or more completely than anyone else? That one question, repeated throughout your life, can transform an ordinary career into an extraordinary mission. If today's episode reminded you that every problem hides an opportunity to create meaningful value, subscribe and continue this journey with us. Every episode is designed to help us think like visionary leaders, solve real-world challenges, and build lasting prosperity with integrity. Share this episode with an entrepreneur, student, professional, or innovator, because one problem solved today may become tomorrow's greatest contribution to society. Together, let us become better individuals, build stronger families, create stronger organizations, develop a better society, and leave behind a better world for future generations. Remember, do not fear problems. Study them, understand them, measure them, solve them with excellence. Listen more than you speak. Obsess over customer outcomes rather than personal opinions. Because money does not chase ideas alone. Money follows value. Value follows solutions. And solutions begin with understanding another person's pain. May we replace complaints with curiosity. Replace obstacles with opportunities. Replace frustration with innovation. Replace self-interest with meaningful service. May every challenge we encounter sharpen our wisdom, every problem we solve improve another person's life, and every honest reward we earn become a reflection of the value we bring to our families, our communities, and the world. Aum Namah Bhagavath Vasudevaya.